All right, good morning, class. Today we will be going forward with our classes. So you can use the slides I sent to the WeChat group for reference. All right. So where did I put this file? Okay. Share screen. Parallel desktop. Share. Can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen? Hello? All right, wonderful. So we'll just go through these slides quickly because we have some exercises I will want everyone to get hold of. So let's just start. So these are the learning objectives of this today's class, right? So at the end of the class, I would want all of you to know and explain the process of managing information system, describing the skills required to be an effective project manager, list and describe the skills and activities of a project manager during project initiation, planning, execution, and close down. Explain what is meant by critical path scheduling, and describe the process of creating a Gantt chart or a network diagram and how commercial project management softwares can be, need to understand that at the end of the class. All right. So what is the importance of project management? Project management is the most important aspect of system development. Okay. So even though everything is perfect, but you still need to know how to manage a project. Okay, even if you have the skill to develop, you are the best system developer out there, but if you don't know how to manage a project, the entire project can fail or can be ruined, right? So you need to be an effective project manager to help ensure that you meet customer expectations. All right. When you have a business agreement with your customer, you have to do exactly what you agree on your agreement. All right. So you also need to make sure that the budget and the time and everything that you have budgeted before the project is consistent with everything that goes on during the project. And even if there are risks, even if there are events that you did not plan for, that is not an excuse. So you must plan for every situation, good or bad, and how you can address the situation. Okay, that is how to be a project manager. So you need to plan for every bad thing that can happen. You need to plan for it. All right. So in a company, okay, there's when you want to request for a system development or when you want to request for a system upgrade, all right, there's a standard form that you use to propose for a system development or an upgrade, and that is that form. It is called a system service request, all right? So give that form, okay, this is how you kickstart a project, all right? So feasibility study, we explained this in our previous class. Feasibility study, it comes from the word feasible. When they say feasible, it means doable. Doable. Okay, doable. Can it be done? All right, can we do this? Feasibility. If something is feasible, it means it is doable. You can do it. Okay. If something is not feasible, it means it's something that you probably should not do. All right, because it might fail. All right. So feasibility study basically comes from that. Can we do this project? Do we have enough money to do this project? Do we have enough resources to do this project? Do we have enough expertise to do this project? Should we do this project ourselves? Do we have a good reason to do this project? Maybe the project is very good actually, but you want to use this project for your company and your company makes only, let's say 100,000 yuan every month, okay? But this project now, to develop this project, it will cost you 1 million yuan, right? So you see, it is more expensive than you can afford. And at the end of the day, even if the system is very great, but you will be making loss, all right? Unless you're looking at profit of the next maybe 20 years, okay? So you need to consider all of these factors when doing your feasibility study, all right? So this is what a system service request form looks like, all right? So you can see down here, can see here how the service request is. I request a thorough analysis of our current operation, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the system analyst and the service operators or IT team will look into system development. All right, so managing the information system project. All right, so what is a project? A project is a plan undertaking of related activities to reach an objective that has a beginning and an end. Project. A project is, related activities, small activities related, big project. So when you plan for those, you start from the beginning, you finish this small activity or small task. You go to the next, you go to the next, you go to the next, one by one. Combined together will complete the entire project, okay? So project management is a controlled process. It's a process to manage this entire activity, starting from the initiation phase, planning phase, execution, and close down. So project management have 4 phases: initiation, planning, execution, and close down. All right, remember that. Who is a project management? A project manager. So you, as a system analyst, if you are given the task or you're given the job to develop a system, or you are the one who is the leader of the team. So you are the project manager. All right. So a system analyst with management and leadership skills, responsible for leading project initiation, planning, execution, and close down. So you have to start to think like a project manager and a system analyst right now. So you do not only need to have information system ability, all right? How to develop a system, how to plan a system, blah, blah, but you also need to have managerial skill, all right? To lead a team to develop an information system, starting from project initiation, planning, execution, and close down, all right? So you need to know how to manage the project. And project does not only involve information system, information technology. It can also involve a process. It can also involve a product. It can also involve a service. Any project, it has the same kind of execution. All right. So what is the deliverable? What is the end product of a project management process? Okay. It's the same thing as the product of an SDLC phase. Why do you have SDLC? You have SDLC, System Development Lifecycle. So at the end of the lifecycle, you have a product, whether it's a system, a software, an application, or hardware, whatever it is. That is the end product of the project, okay? So you can see, as a project manager, you do not only need to know how to develop systems, you also need to know how to manage people, okay? You can see, you also need to be a good leader. You also need to know how to manage organizational changes and complexity. You also need to have, obviously, system development lifecycle. You need to know which methodology to use. All right, you need to know, should I use SDLC? Should I use SDLC? Should I use Agile? Should I use RAD? Should I use Waterfall? You need to know based on the nature of the project, okay? You need to have a good relationship with your contractors and vendors. You need to, so it's like a juggler. You know, a juggler have many balls in his hands, right? So he can throw, even though it looks so many, but he can manage and control all the balls, all right? So this is what you are as a project manager. So I have explained this. You need to have leadership skill. You need to have management skill. You need to have good customer relation, technical problem solving skill, conflict management. You need to have that. Team management, you also need to have that. So you need to train yourself, okay? Risk and change management. If there are problems, if there are, maybe you plan for something and something else happened, you need to know how to manage the risk or the problem or the challenge or the solution and fix it and make sure it does not affect your project, okay? So what are the phases? I told you there are 4: initiation, planning, execution, and close down. So what happens in the initiation phase? Here you have to initiate the team. Okay, I need a team that can help me develop this project or finish this project. Okay, this guy, he's good at accounting. Okay, fine. This guy, he's good at system development. You bring him to your team. This guy, he's good with words. He can talk to people. You see, so even though you are maybe, let's say you are a project manager, and up till now you are not very skilled at talking to people, it's okay. You are just a manager. You can have a team that can complement each other, okay? Somebody's weakness, you have somebody's strength that can complement. This is what a leader means, all right? You gather a good team of effective team. So initiation of team, you have good relationship with customer, initiate project, management procedure of project, you know, you initiate, basically you initiate. So after you're done initiating, this is a project management workbook. You need to have a project management workbook so you can update everything you do with your project, every phase, every activity, you update it, all right? Whether it's on the book or using the electronic version, that's your choice. Then you start your planning. Here in your planning phase, you define clear, discrete activities and work needed to complete each task, okay? So what is your project scope? All right, we want to develop a system for, let's say, students, all right? Student information system. So you make sure that your scope only cover student information system, not suddenly your system is for doctors or your student is for hospital or market, okay? This is what is meant by scope. Means the boundary, the wall, the beginning and end of your project, because your project cannot solve the global issue. Okay, you have to choose one issue and solve. Okay, what are the alternatives? So you big project, you divide it into small tasks. Okay, small tasks. Okay, big project, you break it down into small tasks. This is what you do during the planning phase. Then each of those small tasks, you need to estimate resources. How much money do I need to finish this small task? How much people? How much resources? How much, whatever you need to estimate, all right? Proper estimate, small task and finish the project, okay? You also need to estimate for also inflation. You need to plan for that. Maybe you plan to do a project in 1 year, right? And during that 1 year, you already signed contract with your customer. A customer say, oh, I will give you $100, maybe 100,000 USD, US dollar. And 100,000 US dollar when converted, maybe it's around, let's say 500 yuan. But during the process, maybe after 6 months, there's inflation or market exchange rate fall, all right? And now dollar has fallen. Dollar become, let's say $1 is equal to 1 yuan. So you see, you need to also budget for that. And now, instead of you making a profit, actually you will end up using your money to do the project, because the customer say, oh, I'm sorry, we already have an agreement. I only pay you what we agree. So you need to plan for every risk, every challenge, every problem as a project manager, all right? So this is how you go about your planning. So during the initiation of the project, okay, let's say in the beginning, we can see the details of your planning in the beginning is so much. So you need to plan for every detail. It's so much, okay? But as you go on with the project, when the project is going on, the details can get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until the project comes to an end. So towards the end of your project, obviously you have done most of the job. So the details do not have to be so much. All right. So statement of work. Okay. I just explained about contract with client, right? That contract is called the statement of work. You see, it's a contract between the IS staff and the customer regarding deliverable. What will I deliver and how much time do I need to complete this project? All right. Deliverable, the contract between IS staff and customer contract. This is what is called statement of work. So you have to remember that, all right? The baseline project plan, it contains the estimates of scope, benefits, schedule, cost, risk, resources, requirements. You see, all the things you need to budget for will be in your baseline project plan, all right? And then you will have your preliminary budget, the cost and benefit analysis outlining the planned expenses and revenue, all right? So you need to plan for everything so that your project will not break down halfway. Not halfway through the project, you say, oh, the money has finished, we cannot continue. This is a big problem for your company, okay? So you need to plan for that. Give me 1 minute. All right, we continue. So work breakdown structure is a division of the project into manageable and logically ordered tasks, all right, and subtasks, all right? Work breakdown structure. Basically the work, you break it down and you structure it. It's called the WBS, so remember that, all right? Then scheduling, obviously, when you want to, before you go on with a project, you also need to schedule, okay, with a Gantt chart or a network diagram. You schedule all the small tasks. You need to put a time frame for each task. Task 1, activity 1 will take 1 week. Activity 2, 2 weeks. Activity 3, 3 days. Activity 4, you need to plan for each task, all right? And then the network diagram is how the task is related to each other. So which one comes first? Task 1, go to task. After finish task 1, you go to task 2. After finish task 2, maybe you go to task 5 before you come to task 3. Before you go to, so you need to network those tasks or activities one by one, okay? So this is what a Gantt chart looks like. So you can see, for example, interview, okay? We need to do an interview. So in the interview, you also need to break down the interview into smaller tasks. So the first task is to prepare the interview form. The next task is to book an appointment with your respondents or your participants. Then you actually conduct the interview. So how long will it take you to prepare the form? 1 day. How long will it take you to make an appointment? Okay, 1 day. How long will it take you to conduct the interview? 4 days, okay? So you see, everything, you need to detail it. What is the predecessor? Okay, we'll get to that. So you can see 1 day, after you finish this, you go to the next task. After you finish this, you go to the next task. After you finish this, can you see? So you need to plan it. So this is a software called Microsoft Project used for planning and scheduling, all right? So you can see with Gantt chart, it will show you the timeline, all right? 1 day, 2 days, 2 days, 3 days, it shows you timeline. But with network diagram, it shows you the activity flow, all right? Network diagram shows you the tasks with rectangles or ovals and the relationship and sequence of those activity. You can see from activity ID number 3, you go to next schedule. ID number 4, you go to next schedule. Okay, you can see. Okay, these two activities, they don't relate to each other. You see, it is these two only relate. These two, they don't relate. So when you finish this activity, you must do this activity. When you finish this activity, this is what network diagram is all about. All right. So you can also use Gantt chart for that. And then your budget. Your budget, obviously you use Microsoft Excel for the calculation and all that, okay? Your financial cost, what it's gonna cost you and or whatnot, all right? So you can see how much goes into planning, right? So much work needs to go into planning. So you need to take care of every detail of your planning, all right? After that, once the planning is complete, then you actually go into doing the project. Now we're done with planning. Everything is concluded. Everything is done and completed. Then we go to project execution. You do the actual project. So during project execution, the actions, you execute your baseline project plan. All the plans that you have put in motion, you execute it. During execution, you need to monitor the progress, okay, of your baseline plan. How do you monitor your progress? You check your timeline. Okay, we decided to use 1 day to do activity 1. Okay, we decided to use in the plan 3 days to do activity 2. But by the time you finished your activity 2 and you check your plan, your schedule, and it says, oh, it's already been 1 week and you are only at activity 2. What does that mean? It means you're lacking behind in time. So you need to move at a faster pace. But if you have budgeted 1 week and your schedule says, oh, actually you should finish activity 2 at week 3, but you already finished activity 2 at week 1, which means you are fast. Okay, that is good. You can have time to slow down or continue depending on you, okay, as a project manager. So all that depends on you. So you need to also with resources. I budgeted to complete activity 3 with 100,000 yuan. But when you finish activity 3, 1 million yuan is gone. There's a big problem, right? So you need to monitor the progress against your plan. So what is next? You need to also maintain a project workbook, all right? So how do you maintain a project workbook? You need to record your progress. You need to monitor your progress, all right? Then you communicate your project status, all right? How do you communicate your project status? You need to carry your team along, all right? Your information, your project team, you need to have good communication. Okay, for example, in our class, we have a WeChat group, right? We can communicate, even though we are not all of us together, but we can communicate, right? We also have an intermediary. We also have a TA. We also have a class leader, okay, for good communication between everybody. So there is a good process workflow, all right? Communication, obviously, it's very, very important. All right, so we've discussed all of this. All right, we've also discussed all of this. So what is the level of communication you want to have? You want to have high formality, low formality, medium formality, okay? How formal? It means formal, okay? So you can have a project workbook that is high formality communication method. You can have a status report, newsletter, okay? Meeting minutes. So every time you have a meeting, you have to write down every minute of the meeting, what was discussed, all right? So that is high formality. And for medium formality, you can just have simple meetings, all right? Seminars, workshop, or memos. And for low formalities, you can just have bulletin boards, brown bag lunches. Like, you know, brown bag lunches is like when you're going for lunch, on your way to lunch, you can discuss the project. Or on your way back from lunch, you can discuss the project. See, same with hallway discussion. Oh, Siren, how is the project? Oh, project is fine. I have a problem with this. Okay, okay. Do this, do that, do that. You see, just simple communication. All right. Just discuss informally. All right. So next is when you're done completing every phase of the project, you go to the last part of the project, which is project close down. All right. So in the close down of the project, in this phase of the project, you actually end your project. Okay. You conduct post-project review. Okay. Then you close the customer contract. All right. So this is what you do at the project close down. So you hand over the project to your customer. We have finished the project. Can you check? Is this what you want? Customer say, yes, I am satisfied. The customer will pay for the project and sign the contract. You close the customer contract. And once everyone is signed, the project is officially closed. All right. So there's nothing that can go back or go forward. You know, project is officially closed when the contract has been completely signed. All right. Do you understand so far? Do you all understand so far? Tintong lama. All right. The next part of so how do you present your scheduling? All right. This is the next part of this class we'll be going into. Gantt chart, we've discussed it. Network diagrams, we've discussed it. Parts chart, critical path scheduling, and project management software. I've already told you, Microsoft project. The same project I asked all of you to download and install. This is the most famous software for project scheduling. All right. The software is called Microsoft Project. You all should try and download it and install on your computer by the next lab class so that I can show you how to manage or schedule projects. It's just very simple to use. So at least when I teach you how to use it, then you will have that knowledge. In the future, you want to plan for a project, you know of a software to use, okay? So Gantt chart, it shows you task durations, it shows you the time overlap, and it shows you your slack time. Okay, slack time is, it means you have extra time, all right? But if you don't have extra time, it means you are on critical time. Critical time means you cannot make any delay. You are at the extreme time. No time for wasting, that is critical time. But if you have time to waste because you are fast, then that means you have slack time. All right, so network diagram, I've also explained this, all right? So path chart, okay? So path chart is the evaluation technique review, all right? Used you use your optimistic and pessimistic and realistic time to estimate and determine the expected task duration, all right? The formula for calculating PART, that is estimated time, is your optimistic time plus four times realistic time plus pessimistic time divided by 6. All right. So if you see here, they give you this value. All right. And this value, you need to use these values to calculate your expected time, ET. All right. You need to use these values to calculate your ET. All right. So you have all of this. So now when you have your ET, you can now use this ET to calculate your late time and your early time. All right. but I will show you how to do this calculation in our next class. I'll give you an example because I want to teach you a different calculation this class. But in our next class, we'll go into that detail, all right? Just remember the formula. So critical path scheduling, I explained what critical path means. Critical path is the longest path in which the project can be completed. So in critical path, you have no time to waste. It's the extreme time, the longest, all right? Slack time is the time an activity can be delayed, you see, without delaying the project. I told you when you are fast or when you have extra time, it means you have slack time, you have more time. But when you have absolutely no time, extra time to waste, you are on the critical path, all right? So how do you know the critical path? How can you measure which path is the critical path? How can you calculate the critical path? So you calculate the earliest possible completion time for each project, activity, each task, by summing the activity times the longest path, all right? You calculate the latest possible completion time for each activity by subtracting the activity, times the path following the activity from the total expected time, okay? I just explained, critical paths contain no activity with slack time. On your critical path, you have no extra time, all right? Don't worry, I will explain that. I've already explained what critical path is and slack time. Another word for slack means float. So you see either of them, it's the same thing, okay? I've explained this. So now let's also look at this example, all right? This example here, it shows you start this project. So what is a path? Okay, remember, path means way. P-A-T-H, path. It also means way. W-A-Y, okay? Way. So which of the path you can take, which way can you take to start from start to end? You can go with A, B, C, end, right? You can also go with A, D, B, C, end. You can also go with D, E, F, end. You can also go with G, E, F, end. You can also go with G, H, I, end. So you can see there are 5 ways. This is first way, 1. This is second way, 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. You see, there are 5 paths to go from start to finish. In this project, do you understand? Now, let me remove this. Okay, so now if you calculate from the first way, A, 10 plus 12, 22 plus 9 is 31. So you have 31 days. Way 2 have 18 days. D plus E plus F is 18 days. Way 3, D plus B plus C is 26 days. So way 4 is G plus H plus I, 13 days. You see, 16 days. So which is the longest days or the longest path? It is way 1, which is A plus B plus C. So this is your critical path. No slack time. You cannot waste time when doing going through way 1, okay? Now, what is your slack time for first path? Your slack time is 0. But what is your slack time for second path? All you need to do is subtract your critical time by your current time, okay? So 31, you see it here. The float for the second path or the slack time for the second path is 31 minus 18, you have 13 days slack time, okay? The same thing for 26 days, the same thing for 36 days. You just subtract your critical path minus that current path. It will give you your slack time. Do you understand? Do you understand? Sintong Lama, do you all understand? Okay, we'll look at it more in the future as we go on in the slide, okay? So there are many project management software to Gantt chart. I've explained this. So also you need to learn how to calculate early start of an activity, and okay, remember to always start with the critical part. So when calculating your early part, early finish, or start finish, or early finish, or late start or late finish of each activity, you must start with your critical part. All right. So before we go into this, we will take a 5 minutes break. 5 minutes break. Then we will come back. We will explain all of these things and we will do some exercise before the class ends. All right. So you can go through this slide during your break if you want. So you can try and understand it before I explain, because it might get a little confusing, but if you pay attention, you will understand it. All right. So just 5 minutes break. I'll see you all in 5 minutes. Okay, guys, can we resume our class? Can we resume the class? Hello, hello, hello. Anybody? Yeah. Ni hao, ni hao, ni hao. Hello, can we resume our class? You guys need to respond, okay? Say something. Okay. So we don't have time anymore. So we will just try and make it fast. All right, so share screen. Okay. So what were we talking about? Calculating early start of an activity, early start and finish of an activity. Okay, you take the forward path and we will get to this explanation. Late start of an activity and late start. Okay, example. If activity 1 takes 1 day to start, right? To complete. Activity 2 takes 3 days. Or let's say activity 1 takes 2 days to complete. Activity 2 takes, let's say, 3 days to complete, right? So what is the early start of your activity 1? Early start will be day 1, right? Day 1 is your early start. Maybe you start the activity late. So your your late start might be day 2, depending on your calculation. And so if let's say activity 1 takes 2 days to complete, but you finish the activity in day 1, you see? So you can have an early start of activity 2, you know, on the previous day. Can you see? So this is what you need to know. But you cannot estimate it simply. You need to know how to calculate, okay? So this is what I want us to learn in this coming slide. Now, look at this activity, okay? Activity A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So activity A takes 1 minute. Activity B takes 2 minutes. Activity 3 takes 3 minutes. All right. So how do you calculate early start for activity A? So usually you have 4 start and finish, right? Early start, early finish, late start, late finish. Okay. Start usually will be up, finish will be down. So early start will be here, late start will be here. Early finish will be here, late finish will be here. All right. So how do you calculate your, let's say for activity A? First one will always be 1, because how do you calculate the early start? Early start is the previous start plus 1. All right. So let us say the previous start, obviously there's nothing in the previous start. So previous start plus 1 will be early start 1. Now, How do you calculate your early early finish? Okay, here is, remember, early start is this side, early finish is this side. Okay, so how do you calculate your early finish? Your early finish, you calculate it by saying early start plus value. Okay, let's say your value is X. Okay, minus 1. Your value X here is whatever you have inside your value. All right, that is how you calculate it. So early start is 1 plus 1 minus 1. 1 plus 1, 2 minus 1 is 1. So your early finish is, okay? So do you understand this part? Good. So what happens here, okay, before you start calculating for any path, all right, you first need to find your critical path, okay? So you need to know your critical path before you start calculating, because you need to use your critical path to do the first calculation. And after the first calculation, then you can calculate the rest, all right? So what is our critical path? How many paths do we have here? Okay, we can go from A to B to D to G to H, path 1. We can also go from A to B to D to E to F to H, path 2. We can also go from A to C to D to G to H, path 3. We can also go from A to C to D to E to F to H, path 4. So we have 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 8. That is our first part. We also have 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. That is our second part. We also have 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 8. That is our third part. We also have 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. Okay. This is what you have here. All right, 1 plus 2 plus 7 plus 8. So it gives you, when you sum that up, all right, you sum this up, it gives you 8, 10, 19, 20, 10, 20, 28, 28, 10, 21, 10, 20, 29. So you see, 29 here is obviously our critical path. Okay, so 29 is our critical path. Which is our critical path? 1 to 3, 1 to 3, to 4, to 6, to 7, to 8. Okay, that is our critical path. So you need to make the critical path calculation first, because you don't have any time to finish. All right, you have no time to waste, rather. No time to waste. So you need to do this calculation first. So remember, I told you, how do you calculate your early start. Your early start is early finish of the previous phase plus 1. So 1 here plus 1 will be 2. Okay? How do you calculate your early finish? It is early start plus x, 3 minus 1, 2 plus 3, 5 minus 1, 4. Okay? Next, here, what is the early start? Is 4 plus 1, 5. Okay? 5 plus 4, 9 minus 1 is 8. Correct? Next, early start. What is early start? Early finish of here plus 1, make it 9, right? 9 plus value x, remember this, early start plus x will be 15. 15 minus 1 will be 14. All right, so we have the next critical path line would be 14, F, minute 7. Okay, so how do you calculate that? It is 14 plus 1, which is 15. Next, 15 plus 7, 22, minus 1, 21. Next, 21 plus 1, 22. 22 minus, no, 22 plus 8, 30. 30 minus 1, 29. See, critical part 29 days, 29 minutes. Okay, 29 minutes. Do you understand? Can you explain the calculation again and understanding it, teacher? Okay, Decante. Which part? Is it the early start or early finish? Which part do you need me to explain? Tell me. All? Okay, how do we do that? Okay. Remember, when you see the process flow, okay, first thing you need to know is to identify how many paths, okay? How many paths can you go, okay? You can go from A to B to D to C to G. Do you understand this part? Do you understand how to know how many paths to go, the Conte? Okay, good. So if you understand that, then when you determine how many paths to go, you need to calculate how long it takes for each path. All right, path 1 is this. It takes 20 minutes. Path 2 is this. It takes 28 minutes. All you need to do is add every value on the path. Okay, path 3 takes on the way, path, the way you choose. Okay, it's the same thing, path or way. Okay, path 3 is 21 days and path 4 is 29 days. 29 days is the longest path, which means that is your critical path. Do you understand this part? Do you understand it up to here? You can't say. Great. So now that you've found your critical path, what is your slack time for all of this path? What is your slack time for this path? Decante, tell me, what do you think? For this particular path, what is your slack time? What do you think? Slack time. How much time can you waste on this path? Just tell me your opinion, because this is the critical part, right? If you've been listening, you will know what I said. Slack time, no, slack time is not 29. Slack time means extra time. How much extra time do you have on this path? extra time is 0. Slack time is 0 because it's the highest critical path. You have no extra time on critical path. It is 0. How do you calculate your critical time? It is the highest time, okay, minus the time you're looking for. So if this is the time, 29 minus 29 is 0, okay? What is the slack time for this path, the content? Quickly, answer me, we don't have time. Part 4, what is this critical time? The slack time. So slack time for this is 8. Very good, because 29 minus this means you have 8 minutes extra time or slack time or float time. All right. So now, since you've understood it here, so now we need to know what is early start and early finish. Early start means the earliest time you can start an activity. Early finish means the earliest time you can finish an activity. Okay? Earliest time you can start an activity and earliest time you can finish an activity. That is what ES and EF mean. Early start, early finish. And here you have late start. The latest time you can finish a work, and the earliest time you can finish a work. But you cannot calculate this first. You have to calculate the early start and early finish first. Do you understand it up until this point, Ikonte? Do you understand? So what we get to do, you need to calculate first on the critical path, the path that leads to 29. This is our critical path. A to C to D to E to F to H. We calculate on the critical path first. So how do you calculate your early start? All right, I give you the formula. Your early start is the early finish of previous activity plus 1. So this is the first activity. Obviously, let's say it is 0, right? Plus 1 becomes 1, right? Okay, so we'll get to how do you calculate for early finish? This is the calculation for early finish. Early start plus X. What is X? X is your value. These are all X. This is value. 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 All right. Do you understand it up until this point, the content? Do you understand it up until this point? So early start plus X, your value is 1, minus 1 will become your early finish. This is how you calculate your early finish. You can write it down because I don't think I wrote it down anywhere in the slide. Okay, early start plus value minus 1 will be your early finish. So 1 plus 1 minus 1 is equal to 1. It's okay, just pay attention, you would understand. Early start, 1 plus X. X is whatever value is in here. Okay, that is X. Minus 1 is early finish. This is for early finish. This is the formula for early finish. Okay, and this is the formula for early start, ES. This is ES. So just remember the formula, then you use it to solve. Okay, so next is early finish of the previous activity. Here is 1 plus 1. is early start for the next activity. So 1 early finish plus 1 equal to 2. That is your early start for this activity, 2. Now, early finish for this activity is early start plus x, 2 plus x, 3 is 5, minus 1 is 4. Early finish. Next, we calculate the same thing. Early finish of the previous activity is 4 plus 1 is 5. Now, early start will be early finish, early start plus value x, 9 minus 1, 8. You do the same thing. No, early finish, you already calculated from the previous. These are all early finish. Top left and top right is early finish. It's not constant. It depends on the value. All right? It depends on the value. I already explained early finish. Early start also depend on the previous activity. But let's say for the first activity, it is 1, okay? Because you cannot start, let's say you cannot start activity A. There's no such thing as minute 0, right? You can only start activity A as on the first minute 1. So the earliest start you can start activity A is the first minute, 1. So you have this, then you can calculate for early finish, which is 1 plus 1 minus 1 equal to early finish. Now you have this early finish. Now for the next activity, you add 1. That is 2. This plus this minus 1 will give you early finish. That is how you go for the entire process. All right? All the way to 29. Do you understand it now? If you have a question, ask me right now so we can proceed. Do you understand it right now? So far, up until 29, how we got 29? So I will ask randomly, Chloe, do you understand it? Amber, Siren, Daiso. Okay, so sometime we can have an empty box, but knowing our starting point is 1, right? Sometimes we can have an empty box, but knowing for the first activity, yes, you start on the first minute, okay? You start the activity on the first minute, all right? So that is what you just need to have in mind in doing this kind of calculation, all right? So let's just proceed, okay? After the class, you can go through it. I'll share some extra materials for you to go through if you don't understand, all right? So now we've calculated for the critical path. Now we can calculate for other path, all right? Critical path is the first part you calculate. Now you can calculate for other path. Now, what is the early start for this activity? Because we already know the early finish of this activity, what is the formula? Early start of previous activity. No, this is early start. So early start for this activity now is early finish of previous activity plus 1. What's the early finish here? It is 1. So 1 plus 1 becomes 2. What about early finish? Early finish here, you can see early finish for this one now will be early start of the current activity plus value minus 1. So early start of the current activity is 2 plus 2, right? Minus 1 becomes 3. Then to the next. Now, here we have already calculated it because it's on the critical path. Do not touch it. Okay, any one you've already calculated, don't touch it, don't change it, don't edit it. Jump to the next, okay, path. So because this is part of the critical, we don't touch it, we go to the next, which is here. All right. So let me clean this quickly. Point pen. So how do we calculate this? 8 minus 1. 8 minus 1, 8 plus 1 is 9, right? 9 plus 5 is 14. 14 minus 1 is 13. Okay, then to the next activity, calculated, don't touch it. Then we go to the next line, which is A to C. It has been calculated. A is calculated, C is calculated, D is calculated, don't touch it. Pretty much every value has been calculated. Now you have done with your starts, your early start and early finish. Now you need to go for late start and late finish. How do you calculate your late start and late finish? Okay. Remember, you have no extra time on your critical path. Okay. You have no extra time on your critical path. It is always 0, right? So your early start and early finish of all the activity on the critical path is the same, because you have absolutely no time to waste on the critical path. So what is our critical path? It is 1 to 3 to 4 to 6 to 7 to 8. 1 to 3 to 4 to 6 to 7 to 8, which means our critical path will be 1, 1. Late start, late finish must be equal to early start, early finish on the critical path. It is exactly the same. So remember that. You don't need to do any calculation. It is exactly the same, because slack time is 0. Sorry, 29. It's exactly the same. All right, it is exactly the same. Now, let me show you what I mean. The slack time for here, 29 minus 29, 0. 22 minus 22, 0. 21 minus 21, 0. 15 minus 15, 0. 0, 0, 0, 5, 8. 0, 0, 0, 0. This is the slack time. On the critical path, it is 0. Okay? Do you understand it so far? Now, since you have calculated for the critical path, you can now calculate for the other path. All right? And what is the other path? All right? This is what is left. And this is what is left. This is what is left. And this is what is left. All right? So here now, you have 2 for early finish, right? 22 here. So 22 minus 1 will be 21. So 21, because we are going backwards now, okay? I told you when you are calculating for this early start, early finish, you calculate forward. But when you're calculating for late start and late finish, you calculate backwards. All right, that is why we're starting with the last one. And the last one is 8. We already have this value, so we go to the next. All right, so 22 minus 21, 22 minus 1 is 21. 21 minus 5 is 16. Minus 5 is 16. 16 plus 1 will be 17. So how do you calculate this? I'll give you the formula. It is the early start of previous, because we are going backwards, that is why it's previous, okay? Minus 1 is equal to the not start, okay? Because it's the same, that's why I put early start. So this is early finish, okay? 21 minus 1 will give you the late finish. 21, you can write it down, will give you the late finish. Minus 1 will give you late finish. Now, for the late start, okay, it is late finish minus x. X is, remember, your value. X plus 1. So 21 minus 5 is 16 plus 1 is 17. All right. So we use the same formula for this empty box. All right. So what is your early finish? We need the early finish of the previous value. Early finish of previous. Remember, previous. PREV, previous. So the early finish of the previous, because we are going backward, early finish is 5. Now, 5 minus 1 will be 4. Okay, 4 minus 2 is 2. Plus 1, because I said early finish minus x plus 1. 4 minus 2 plus 1 will be 3. So now we have our full stack of values. Now let us see, let us check our values, okay? 4 minus 1 is 1. This is slack time for this activity. 1. Slack time for this activity is 1. Okay, slack time for this activity is 17. 8. Slack time for this activity is 8. Slack time for this activity is also 8. Okay, so you can see now that it is consistent with our value. All right. Let's see. Slack time. This is how you calculate. You subtract the 1 on top with the 1 below the slack time. So if you go this direction now, 7, 8, you can see that the slack time here, 0, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1, it is what? It's 1. If you also go from here, 0, that is where calculating slack time now. 0 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. You can see 1 plus 8 plus 0 give you 9, which is our slack time for this value. 29 minus 20 gives you 9. Yes, which is consistent. 8 plus 1. If you calculate all this slack time, it will give you the same value as the slack time you calculated initially. All right. So I will give you guys an exercise, and you will only have 7 minutes to solve the exercise. Okay, just use the same formula and okay, find all the possible paths. This is very easy for all of you. Calculate the duration for each path. This is all also very easy for you. Calculate, find the critical path, which is the longest path. It's also okay, easy for you. Calculate the slack time. How much time do you have, extra time? It's also easy for you. Arrange in increasing order from the smallest to the largest. Okay, also very easy. This one is the one that is confusing the content a little bit. But if you understand the calculation or the process, you will know how to do it properly. So you need to try now, right? And as you can see, this value here is the same with this value, okay? This is our solution, all right? So this is what I want you to try, this exercise. So do it in groups, okay? Group 1, group 2, group 3, do it together so it will be faster. Discuss, find all the possible paths to go from activity A to activity H, all right? So do it quickly, you have 7 minutes. Find the critical path, calculate for each value. These are the values, okay? 10, 5, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. These are the values. So you find your critical path by adding the values and which one is the highest. Slack time, the highest value minus each path is your slack time. So quickly. Now you have 6 minutes.
Hey, Dr. Dr. Hector, I have asked the lab administrator several times, and still he also needs to wait for another IT staff to send to him, and this IT staff still not coming to his office. So I want to ask you, have you received the software? Have you received the software from the students or TA?
I don't receive the software, but I'm purchasing the software. So I'm going to purchase the software so I can use it to show my students what I am trying to explain. So the next class, we'll just use it using the software I purchased because I don't have any option right now. So I'm purchasing the software. Okay. Shape. Okay, your time is up. Are you guys done? Are you guys done?
I think you don't need to purchase now.
Okay, guys, we don't have time anymore. The class needs to end in 5 minutes. So I'll just call you randomly. Give me your answers, okay? Quickly. Group 1. What's the answer for question number 1? So just unmute yourself and tell me your answer. Okay, quickly. Group 1. Who are the members of Group 1? Members of Group 1 should be, this is the same class. You guys have groups, right, in this class? I think so. I can't find your group names here. You have groups, right? Okay, quickly. Give me your Group 1. What is your answer? Find all the possible paths. Just give me A, B, C, possible paths. Quickly, we have no time. Unmute yourself. Okay, I don't know what's up with Group 1. If you have the answer, just tell me what are the possible paths. Group 5, give me the possible path. Let me see. Does Group 5 have an answer? Group 5, do you have an answer for me? Dysol, Dorothy, White, Roxana, Hope. What are your answers? Oh dear Lord. You guys aren't talking. Faster, faster, faster. Okay, sure, group 8. What's your answer? What's your answer?
I would check for group 8.
Okay. Why are you echoing?
Okay, we found 3 parts.
3 parts, okay. Part 1.
Part 1, there is from A, B, C, E, G, and H.
1.
You get me?
Yes, that's part 1. Next.
Okay, part 2, there is A, B, F, G, and H.
Okay.
Part 3, there is A, B, C, D, G, and H.
Very good. Thank you very much. So calculate the duration for each part. Group 7. Quickly. Group 7 is Luna, Cyrene, Leah, Yume, Lane. Duration for each part. There are 3 parts, so it's easy. Give me the number, the answer. Quickly. Group 7, Cyrene, Luna, Leah, Yume, Lane. Question number 2. Dear Lord. Quickly, we don't have time. Just give me the number. Luna, Cyrene, are you there? Okay, through 6. Do you have an answer for me? Answer any question, anyone you have the answer for, give it to me. This class will end in 2 minutes. Hurry up. Group 10. Is there group 10 or group 10? What are the duration for each path? Just add the value, duration. Sure, Sheikh. Go ahead, question 2. Go. Quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, the path number 1.
Just give me the answer.
Yes, 38.
38, very good.
And path number 2 is 49. And
49.
path number 3 is 41. Yes.
40 what?
And path number 3 is 41.
41, very good. So which is the critical path?
I want to give you path number 3 before we go to that. I just want to give the duration of each path first.
So the path number 3, which is the critical path? You've given me 3 paths. Which of the 3 is critical path?
49.
49, thank you very much. All right, so 49 is the critical path. What about the slack, for the slack time for part 1 and part 3? Can anyone tell me? Sheikh, you can try if you want. Anyone, just answer. We don't have time anymore. Just give me the answers and we end the class. Tracy, you want to try? Go on.
Okay, for the select time, I found 0, 11, and 8.
0, 11, and 8. So 11, 0, 8. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So increasing order, obviously, you guys will know that 38 will be the lowest, 41 will be the second, and then 49 is the increasing order. So to calculate the early start and early finish, I will just forward the answers to your WhatsApp group, to your WeChat group. So you can compare your answers and my answers, okay? So if you have any question, you can come and text me personally and ask me, okay? So, or I make that an assignment. Should I? Should that be an assignment? Okay, why not? That's an assignment for all of you. Basically, this entire exercise is group assignment, even though we have answered the questions in class, so it should be easy for all of you, all right? So this will be your first assignment. I hope each of you can get it 100%, all right? So in the next class, which is next week, yeah, each group should submit one file, Microsoft Word file. Okay, all your answers, your cover page should be your names and student number, and then your answer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'll mark it and give you your score. All right, then after that, I will answer the question in the lab class or whatever it is. But you need to submit it on Tuesday. Cyrene, make sure, let me see. Tuesday, there's no class, right? So I can mark it before. Yes, Tuesday, there is no class. On Tuesday, you have computerized business application. So make sure you submit the assignment to me on Tuesday through my, I don't have Tencent. I'll discuss with Cyrene which way